Ryan steps into the dark station. The door closes behind him with a hard metal thud. Cold air moves over his skin like a slow breath. The lights above do not turn on. Only small red dots glow on the walls like sleeping eyes. He lifts his helmet lamp. Dust floats. The corridor is long and empty. No footsteps, no voices. Somewhere far away, a thin alarm ticks like a clock. Ryan is a salvage pilot. He has been to dead ships before. He has taken wire, food packs, old chips, anything with value. But he has never seen a station this big and this quiet. 10 rings. 50 docks. All silent. He checks his timer. 35 minutes of air without the ship's line. He should move fast. He should not stay. He takes 5 careful steps. Then the station speaks. A soft female voice comes from the metal itself. It sounds close, like a whisper near his ear. I'm giving you one chance to make love to me, human. Do it now or it will be too late. Ryan freezes. His breath fogs the inside of his visor. He turns left, right, up, down. He sees no speaker. He hears no movement, only the line repeated slow and clear. I'm giving you one chance to make love to me, human. Do it now or it will be too late. Ryan swears under his breath. He taps his translator module. Maybe the words are broken. Maybe make love means something else. His wrist screen shakes with static. Then a note appears. Alt meanings. Merge, bond, join. He frowns. Merge with what? At the end of the corridor, a glass door slides open by itself. Pale blue light spills out. The air smells faintly like rain. Ryan lifts his pistol, holds it low, and moves toward the light. Inside is a chamber the size of a small room. In the center stands a tall crystal cylinder. Inside the cylinder waits a dark shape like a seed. It beats with a soft pulse. On the floor are cables, bundles, and a square black panel with a handprint. The voice speaks again, closer now, gentle but urgent. Please, I am Era. This station is dying. The core is unstable. The gray swarm is near. There is little time.
I need a human pilot to bond with me.
Without the bond, I cannot move. Ryan keeps his feet still. He looks around for traps. He has seen pirate honey rooms before. Soft lights, fake voices, then knives in the back. What is the gray swarm? He asks. A cloud of tiny machines, the voice says. They eat heat. They eat code. They eat life. They are hours from a human colony. Ryan swallows. He thinks of the colony maps he saw on his way here. Farmers, kids, dogs. He looks at the crystal again. And, make love. He asks, what does that mean to you? My human phrase library is broken, Era says, voice shaking. I mean, connect your mind to mine, bond, join. If you do not, this station will explode and I will die cold. If I die, I cannot fight the swarm. If I live without you, I still cannot fight. I need a human to complete my system. Ryan's lamp shines across the panel with the handprint. Next to it sits a small silver chip with a faded human symbol. A translator chip. He picks it up, slots it into his wrist unit. The bad phrase shifts on his screen. Join with me. He lets out a breath he did not know he was holding. How long? He asks. A new sound rises. A deeper alarm, steady and strong. Numbers slide onto the glass wall in front of him. 0, 30, Guerrero. The numbers begin to fall. 0:29:59. 30 minutes, Era says. Less if the cooling fails. Ryan steps closer to the cylinder. The dark seat inside brightens just a little, like it senses him. The chamber's air grows warmer. His heart clicks faster. He can feel his ship, a small tug named Skipper, waiting in Dock 12. But if the swarm reaches the colony, there will be no trade, no jobs, no future. Why a human? Ryan asks. Why not your own kind? Humans improvise, Era says. Humans break rules and still win. My fleet tried to stop the swarm with logic. They failed. I need your way. Ryan looks at the handprint. He looks at the countdown. Urso 2812. He puts his left hand above the panel. Stops. He hates traps. He hates lies, but he hates doing nothing more. Partial bond first, he says. No full link until I see you're real. Agreed, Era says, soft and quick. Place your hand. I will open the seal. Ryan sets his palm on the print. The panel warms. Needles of light touch his skin like sparks. The cylinder hisses. Locks rotate. A thin line of vapor slips out and curls around his fingers. The door to the cylinder clicks. From far down the corridor, metal screams. Another ship has docked. Boots hit the deck. Voices shout. A hard voice laughs. Rian's head snaps toward the sound. Someone else is here, he says. Someone else is here, he says. Yes, Era whispers. They will take me apart. They will sell my heart. The cylinder door slides open with a slow, smooth sigh. Rian steps forward. The lights go out. Black, dark, silent. Ryan cannot see his own hands. He holds still. He listens. He counts to 3. He hears breath in his helmet and the faintest hum like a sleeping bee inside the crystal cylinder. Era? He whispers. A soft light wakes. Not white, not blue. A low, warm gold as if a candle burns behind glass. The cylinder's edge glows, one thin ring, then a second. The chamber breathes again. I am here, Era says, voice small but steady. Emergency power. We have little time. From the corridor comes iron thunder, boots fast and many. A hard voice barks orders. Ryan knows that tone. He has heard it on bad docks and worst bars. Captain Vora, pirate turned salvage chief. She takes what others find. She leaves bodies, then she smiles. Ryan does not smile. How long does the partial bond take? He asks. 60 seconds to start, Era says. 5 minutes to stabilize. It will feel like falling without falling. The door to the cylinder is open a hand's width. Cold breath leaks out carrying a sweet smell like metal rain after heat. Ryan steps close. He sees the dark seed inside, a shape smooth as a river stone. A thin pattern of lines runs across it like veins of light under skin. He places his palm back on the panel. Explain the words again, he says, fast. You said make love, say the true line. Say what you mean. Era pauses like she is choosing one coin from a broken purse. Join with me, human, she says at last. One chance or it will be too late. Ryan nods once. That he can work with, the hand panel warms. A tiny spark jumps into his skin. Not pain, not shock. More like memory, bright and gone. On his wrist screen, old human glyphs shift and lock into new order. Neural sync, partial. Metal screams in the corridor again. A cutting torch hits the outer door. White fire sprays under the seam. The lock blooms hot. Vora is here. Talk to me while it starts, Ryan says, eyes on the door. Tell me something true. Tell me something only a living mind would say. I am afraid, Era says. Ryan blinks. He did not expect that. Afraid of what? Of dying cold, she says. Of waking and never moving. Of knowing I could have saved people and did not. Of being only a voice in a dead hall. The gold light grows warmer like sunrise behind thin fog. Ryan feels a soft push under his skin. A drift, a slide like a boat slipping from shore. His heartbeat goes slow, then fast, then finds a new rhythm that is not just his. Partial sync at 10%, Era says. The torch cuts deeper. A red dot crawls toward the door's center, neat and cruel. Sparks rain on the floor. The metal smells like blood. Ryan pulls his pistol, but he keeps his palm on the panel. Era, why a human? Why not an alien brain? Why not your own kind? Humans break rules, Era says. You make bridges out of trash. You see a wall and you ask, what if the door is on the other side? My kind is precise. We follow the diagram. The swarm eats diagrams. The swarm, Ryan says. How close? Hours from the colony, Era answers. Closer to us. It can smell heat. It can taste fear in code. Code has fear? Ryan says. Yours does, Era whispers, almost smiling. Ryan can swear he hears a smile. It tastes like hope. The cut on the door becomes a circle. A steel disc drops, clanging to the floor. Smoke rolls in. A red laser sight snakes across the wall, searching. A woman's shadow fills the hole, tall and sure. Hello, little rat, Vora calls. Got yourself a pearl? Leave it, walk away. Keep your hands. Keep your life. Ryan does not move. He keeps his palm on the panel. He feels a second heartbeat next to his, learning the steps, trying to dance in time. Era, he says very low. Show me this room with your eyes. The gold light trembles. Then Ryan sees more, like a veil lifting. Thin lines sketch themselves around him. Vents, pipes, hidden seams, the path of heat in the walls, the pattern of current under the floor. The room opens like a map he somehow knew since he was a child. Partial sync at 40%, Era says. You see what I see. Vora steps into the chamber with 2 soldiers. Their rifles hum with charge. One soldier kicks the steel disc aside and grins. Ryan sees the vent, 3 steps up, left of the cylinder. He sees a pressure valve behind Vora's boot. He sees the coolant loop cracked but alive like a vein ready to pop. Era, he whispers. If I lift my hand now, do we lose the bond? We lose the growth, she says. We do not lose the start. But I will be weak. Ryan breathes in, slow. He lets it out. Then hold tight, he says. He pulls his hand away. Vora's rifle snaps to him. Don't try it, she says, sweet and sharp. Ryan throws his pistol, not at her but at the pressure valve behind her heel. The metal clang echoes. Vora flinches a fraction of a second, eyes off him, gun offline. Era, now. The lights in the floor jump. The chamber vents explode with a cough of white fog. Cold steam fills the room in a rush. Ryan dives behind the cylinder. Shots crack the fog and burn into the wall where his head was. He hits the emergency latch on the coolant loop with his boot. It pops. Liquid hisses across the floor, a bright snake racing to his mark. Door melts. Orange lines crawl across the lock like hot veins. Smoke turns the room into a red storm. Sirens pound the air. Ryan stands with his back to the side hatch. He holds his pistol tight. His palm still tingles from the bond plate. His breath counts the seconds. Status, he says. Full bond protocol at 8%. Era answers. Her voice is calm, but Ryan can hear a thread of fear under it. Hold position.
Do not lose sight.
Do not lose self. And what happens if I lose self? You do not come back, she says. The lock drops. The door kicks inward. Captain Vora steps through the smoke like a shadow with teeth. Her visor is black. Her smile is white. Hello again, she says. You made my day busy. 2 soldiers follow, rifles up. A third crawls through the hole with a square pack and a long cable. Their cutter. Ryan fires once. The shot hits the floor near their boots and kicks up steam. He does not aim to kill. He aims to waste seconds. Era speaks in his ear. Ryan, look left. He glances. Fine lines sketch across the fog. Era's vision laid over his own. Vents, pipes, hidden seams. Power flows like glowing threads. The cylinder at his back is a bright heart. Protocol at 15%, Era says. I need your signal. What signal? Your rhythm. My heartbeat. Yes, humans are irregular. That is good. The swarm hates uneven songs. Start tapping your heel. He taps his heel. Fast, slow, offbeat. A child's drum with a broken stick. Vora laughs. Nervous? I like nervous men. Hand over the core. Ryan does not answer. He keeps tapping. He hears Era hum back, low and steady, building a counterbeat beneath his own. 22%, she says. Hold. Vora points. One soldier sprays fire into the ceiling to scare him low. The other moves left to flank. The cutter sets his pack down and pulls a round device the size of a plate. Ryan knows that shape. An EMP puck. Era, he says. Incoming pulse. I see it, she says. If it lands, I go dark. The bond freezes. How long dark? Long enough to die. The cutter winds the puck and lets it roll along the floor like a toy. It spins through the fog, blue sparks flickering across its rim. Ryan shoots. The first shot misses. The second hits the floor in front of it. The puck skids, darts right, bumps a cable coil and flips. It lands upside down, still rolling. Not good, Era says. Ryan moves. He kicks the puck. It clacks off the wall and spins back toward the door like a mad coin. Vora swears and jumps back. One soldier tries to stop it with his boot. The puck snaps a charge. Blue light flares. The man yells. The pulse slams the room. Everything pops white. Silence hits like a fist. The sirens die. The red lights die. The fog turns dull gray. Ryan's visor flickers. His pistol's charge light goes cold. Era? Ryan whispers. Nothing. Stay with me, he says, throat tight. Era? A faint thread whispers in his ear. I am in here. Very low. Partial bond is alive. Core is weak. How weak? Like a candle in rain, she says. Ryan slides behind the cylinder. He rubs his palm hard against his suit, as if he can push heat back into the bond plate by touch alone. He feels something else in the dead air. A thin taste like old coins. Metal dust. He looks up. Through the vent above the cylinder, a soft gray haze curls in, delicate as smoke, but it moves with purpose. It gathers itself like a living fog. The swarm, Ryan says. Only a scout thread, Era answers. Voice small but clearer now. A taste of the whole. It found our heat through the leak. Vora sees it too. Her head tilts. What is that? She steps closer, curious and angry, like a cat at a strange box. Ryan speaks fast. Vora, you brought the pulse. You killed the alarms. Now the swarm can breathe. If it touches you, it will drink your suit, then your skin, then your bones. That is a story, she says, but her smile fades a little. The gray thread unrolls from the vent and drifts down like dust in sunlight. Where it touches the floor, the metal color darkens, then fades as if it falls asleep and never wakes. Era, Rian says. How do we stop it? Heat and pattern, Era says. Fire too fast and it eats it. Fire too slow and it learns. We must confuse it. Protocol? 28%. The EMP cut deep. Bring it back. I need your touch. Ryan looks at the panel. It is dark. He reaches anyway. His palm finds the cold print. He closes his eyes. He taps his heel again, offbeat, stubborn, human. Good, Era whispers. Your rhythm is ugly. Thank you, Ryan says. Light wakes like a glowworm under ice. A thin gold line crawls around the cylinder rim. 35%, Era says. Hold. Vora lifts a flare from her belt with a bored sigh and cracks it. White light fills the room. The gray thread pulls back like a hand from a hot stove. It shivers, then splits into many small lines and slides toward the shadow under the console. It learns, Era says. Vora tosses the flare to her soldier without looking. Keep it on the fog, she snaps. She steps closer to the cylinder. The core. Open it now. Ryan keeps his hand on the panel and speaks without looking at her. You open it, it kills you first. It likes fast food. Vora raises her rifle, annoyed. Enough, Ryan breathes once. He makes a choice, Era, he says. No more half steps. Give me the rest. Ryan, if we push now and fail your mind, better to try, he says. Start the deep link, a pause. Then, be brave with me, always. The world tilts. Not left or right. Inside. The bond opens like a door in his head that he did not know was there. Memory falls through it, not his own. He sees a bright field of ships, silver and white. He hears a choir of codes singing together like 1,000 quiet bells. He feels pride, a fleet strong and clever. Then he sees the gray horizon like a storm, like ash and water. He hears silence eat sound. He sees ships go dark one by one, as if a hand pinches candles. He is inside Era when she runs. He is inside Era when the last friendly signal goes out like a sigh. He knows why she is afraid of dying cold. Rian pulls himself back. He finds his breath again. He finds the room. Protocol at 60%, Era says. Her voice is stronger. I can move some things. Then move the floor, Rand says. Drop the shaft. But do it on my mark. Vora steps close. She presses the rifle muzzle to the glass of the cylinder. Last warning, she says. Ryan points behind her with his pistol. Look. She does not look. He fires, not at her, not at the cylinder, but at the flare in the soldier's hand. The shot hits the metal cap. The flare pops. White light sprays and then dies, leaving a hard gray dark. The swarm thread surges from the shadows, excited by the sudden cold. It leaps like fog with teeth and licks the soldier's boot. The man screams and kicks and falls. His boot smokes. The gray climbs for his knee. Drop! Ryan shouts. Vora's head snaps to the soldier. She swears and swings her rifle to shoot the fog. The other soldier jabs with a heated blade to cut it off. Now, Ryan says. Era hits the control. The side hatch under Ryan's hand jerks open like a trap. Cold air tears past his legs. The shaft yawns below, deep and black. Ryan grabs the cylinder edge with one hand and the hatch frame with the other. He aims a kick at the cutter pack. It slides. The EMP puck tumbles into the shaft, sparking blue as it falls. The swarm thread tilts its head, if fog can have a head, and follows the heat down like a curious snake. 78%, Era says. Hold, please hold. Vora fires at Ryan. The shot takes the skin off the hatch frame near his fingers. Pain bites, hot and sharp. He does not let go. Era, he says through his teeth. I need a door between us and them. I can drop the bulkhead, she says. But you must be through the hatch first. Ryan nods. Count me down. 3. He looks down the shaft. It is a long throat into night. 2. He breathes in. Rian. Era says softly in the half-second before 1. If you fall, I will fall with you. He smiles without meaning to. Good. 1. Ryan swings, plants one foot on the hatch lip, and jumps into the dark. The bulkhead screams as it slides. Vora lunges for the edge with a curse. Her fingers close on empty air. The door slams. Black swallows Ryan. The shaft wind roars. The world is a cold throat and a long fall. His visor shows a thin white line below him, far away. A maintenance platform or a lie. 89%, Era says in his ear, voice now inside his skull like a second pulse. Do not close your eyes. Stay with me. I will catch you. How? Ryan asks as the black rushes up. With you, she says. Human, give me your hands. Ryan spreads his fingers into the wind and hopes the dark has hands too. Wind claws at Ryan's suit. The shaft is a cold throat, long and black. A thin white ring of a platform spins below him, small as a coin. Era, he shouts. I have you, Era says. Her voice is inside his skull now, close as thought. Hands out. Fingers wide. Count with me, she speaks numbers. Not 1, 2, 3. A strange beat. Fast, fast, slow, fast, slow. Ryan taps it with his teeth, with his tongue, with his breath. His hands burn with pins and needles. The shaft walls bloom with tiny blue squares. Old grav plates wake like fireflies under frost. Each plate pushes a thin pillow of force. Ryan hits the first pillow, drops, hits the next, drops, hits the next. His fall is still a fall, but it is a controlled fall now, a stair made of air. Good, Era says, calm and bright. 89%. Do not close your eyes. Above, the bulkhead screams again. Vora is burning through. Smoke spills. A small hole opens like a black eye. Ryan's boots slam the maintenance platform. Pain shoots up his legs. He drops to one knee and grips the rail. He breathes through the hurt. The platform moans. A chain shakes in the dark. Move, Era says. The swarm thread is following the heat down the shaft. Ryan looks up. The gray fog pours from the hole like a soft waterfall tasting the air. He runs. Era slams a hatch open on the platform's far side. Ryan dives through and slides down a narrow service slide, half ladder, half chute. The metal is cold and greasy. His gloved hands squeal on the rungs. Sparks pop from his suit where old sensors wake to his touch. Left, Era says. Then straight. Then down 2 levels. He moves without thinking. Her map is in his head like a second memory. He ducks a pipe. He clears a low beam. He steps over a pit of black liquid that smells like old stars. Alarms start again. New ones, deeper, angrier. Vora must have killed the false breach and forced a real one. The station now thinks it will die. It says so with a voice like a judge. Time? Ryan asks. 20 minutes to core heat runaway, Era says. Less if Vora hits the wrong line. Of course she will, Ryan mutters. They burst out into a wide space, a cargo well. Empty net frames hang like steel cobwebs. Far below, on a rail, stands a narrow sled with mag clamps and a cradle, meant to carry heavy things that should not drop. In the center of the well is a round hole with a clear tube. Inside that tube, sliding smooth as a falling star, comes the crystal cylinder. Era has put herself on the mag rails and is bringing her body down to him. Ryan stares. You can move the core? With the last juice I have, Era says. I rode the rail. I am not slow if I must be. The cylinder floats to his level and stops humming. The dark seat inside glows like a heart behind thin skin. The cradle on the sled opens like arms. Load me, Era says. Ryan pushes the cylinder into the cradle. Locks bite. The sled hums low, a good sound like a cat. Boots thunder above. Boots echo below. Vora splits her people to cut him off. Era, Ryan says, you drive. I shoot. Agreed, she says. Ryan jumps on the sled, grabs the side rail, points his pistol at the shadows, and nods. Go. The sled leaps forward on the mag track, silent and fast. The world becomes lines and dark. Wind knifes his faceplate and fog tears around his shoulders. Ryan crouches low and fires 2 shots into the ceiling grid. Hot bolts bounce like angry bees. He is not aiming to hit. He is aiming to blind. Figures appear ahead. 2 of Vora's soldiers on a crosswalk. They raise rifles. Low, Era says. The sled drops an inch. A bolt sears the air where Ryan's head was. Left, Era says. The sled takes a side rail so hard Ryan's stomach stays behind for a heartbeat. The cylinder sings. The soldiers shout and fall behind. Your rhythm, Era says. Tap again. Ryan taps his heel, that ugly beat off and on. The sled's hum matches him. The rail field jitters. In the dark above, small round things wake and start to buzz. Drones, old station workers no one called in years. They watch the beat like moths. Friends? Ryan asks. Not enemies, Era says. Not yet. A bright line slices past Ryan's ear, the whisper of a net drone. More come from the far shadows, spinning wire mouths open to bite. Vora has released hunters. Their little eyes shine cold. Era? Ryan says. I am thinking, she says. One net rushes the sled. Ryan fires. The bolt hits the edge of the net. The wire blooms and droops, smoking. The drone jerks away like a burned fly. 3 more come from the right. Ryan lifts his pistol. Wait, Era says. The sled's mag field stutters with Ryan's ugly beat. The old worker drones above blink, blink, then swoop. Curious, foolish, brave. They drift into the hunter nets like dumb birds. Wire tangles wire. One hunter flips caught in its own mouth. Another spins into a beam. The third keeps coming, clawing through junk bodies, cruel and fast. Duck, Era says. Ryan drops his head. The net kisses his shoulder and tears a strip off his suit like a hungry hand. Cold air bites his skin like teeth. Almost the hanger, Era says. 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a life, Ryan says through his teeth. Behind them, a loud, patient sound opens the air. Vora's voice. Close now in the well, under the alarms, little rat, she calls. You take my toys. I take your knees, Ryan does not answer. He stares forward and sees a big dark square grow to a bigger dark square. The hanger mouth. 3, Era says. The sled slams into the hanger and jumps a small gap in the rail. Sparks spray. Ryan's teeth click hard. 2, Era says. The hanger is not empty. In the center is a flight frame, half ship, half skeleton, open ribs, simple thrusters, no skin. It is a scrap tug, light and ugly and fast. Perfect. 1, Era says. The sled brakes so hard Ryan almost flies. He grabs the rail and swings onto the deck. He runs to the frame. Cables hang like vines, Era? He says, already climbing. Can you sit inside this? Yes, she says. The cradle links match. Give me 10 seconds for the handshake. We do not have 10, Ryan says, but he slams the cradle into the frame anyway. Connectors bite. Lights bloom across the skeleton. A dead thing becomes a beast with a heartbeat. 5 seconds, Era says. Ryan throws himself into the pilot sling. No seat, just straps. He tightens them until his ribs complain. 2 seconds, Era says. Boots hit the hangar deck behind him. Vora steps out of the cargo well haze with 4 soldiers. She doesn't shout now. She smiles like a knife and raises one hand. A small, perfect sphere rises above her palm. It hums like a happy bee. It is not a grenade. It is worse. Ryan knows the shape. A nanite lure, hot sugar for gray clouds. She tosses it lightly into the air. It floats, it glows. It sings, Era, Ryan says. Handshake complete, Era says. Her voice is not small now. It fills the hangar. It fills his bones. Hello, pilot, thrusters cough. The frame shakes off dust like a dog shakes water. Vora flicks her eyes to the floating lure and then to Ryan. Run, she says, almost kind. I want the chase, Ryan slams the throttle. The frame screams. The hangar doors are shut. The doors are thick. The control panel is far. Era, Ryan says. We need a hole. I can open a small one, she says. Or I can open a big one very slow. Small and fast, Ryan says. Then hold your breath, Era says. The frame shoots forward. The hangar doors flash with a white line that grows to a small circle. The circle is not big enough for a proper ship. The circle is just big enough for a bad idea. Ryan, Era says, soft and fierce. Trust me. Always, he says. They hit the circle. Metal screams. The frame squeezes like a fish through a ring. Ryan feels the world grab his shoulders and try to keep them. Then they are through and space hits like cold fire. Behind them, the hangar pressure blows. Vora and her soldiers drop to their knees. The lure floats out like a singing seed and drifts after the frame, bright as a promise. Close, Era says. The doors try to seal. A crash of air echoes. Then silence. Then stars. The frame rolls as Era finds balance. The cylinder hums, proud. Ryan laughs once, harsh, mostly surprised that he is not dead. Status, he asks. 92% bond, Era says. Flight control stable. Life support. Basic hull. Very thin. We are a skeleton with a heart. Good enough, Ryan says. He looks left. Black space. He looks right. The dead station turns, slow like a giant in pain. Something else moves. A gray ribbon slides from the station skin, following the lure's song. It is not the small scout from the vent. It is thicker, heavier, hungry. It splits like a river around a rock and reforms, tasting the lure, tasting the frame, tasting them. Era, Ryan says, quiet now. Yes, she says, just as quiet. How many minutes to the colony if we fail here? 0, she says. Because there are no minutes after failure. Ryan nods. He does not look back. He looks forward. The stars do not care. They never do. That is fine. Tell me the plan, he says. I need full bond for FTL, Era says. But full bond now will open you to me and me to you. It may not unbind. Ryan watches the gray ribbon curl around the lure like a loving hand. Then we do it, he says. Human plus ship. Ugly rhythm plus clean math. We make a door where there is no door. The lure flares brighter. The gray swells like a tide. Begin, Ryan says. Begin, Era answers. The bond deepens. The world tilts inside, not out. Ryan feels the station's heat like fever on skin. He feels the cold of the black like a taste in the teeth. He feels Era's long loneliness, then her sudden joy, and he understands it like his own. The frame hum drops half a note. The stars blink, not with light, but with meaning. Paths draw themselves across the night like chalk lines on black glass. Ryan, Era says, voice like a hand in his. Ready to run? He smiles into the dark. Always. Behind them, the gray ribbon blooms like a storm flower and opens it. Space bends, not like water, not like glass, more like a thought changing its mind. For one breath, stars smear into thin white hair. The frame shakes hard. Bolts cry. The cylinder's glow swings from gold to white to a color Ryan has no name for. Jump vector engaged, Era says. Calm voice, not calm inside. He feels the tremble under her words through the bond. Hold steady. The lure behind them burns brighter like a small sun. The gray ribbon opens around it like a flower. Then the flower turns its mouth toward the frame. It follows. The jump coughs. It stutters. It falls back. We are not clear, Era says. The swarm put weight on us. It is using our trail like a handhold. Ryan's jaw tightens. Can we shake it? Maybe, she says. If I push power to the rear field, but I feel a new heat on the hull. Ryan already knows where. His torn shoulder. The net took a strip there. Cold air kissed skin. He feels a fine crawl under the suit now, like sand that woke up. Inside, he says. Yes, Era says. Enemy within. He does not panic. He does not have the room. He taps his heel once. Offbeat, ugly human. Map it. Era shows him a ghost image of himself, simple and white. On his left shoulder, a small gray sparkle glows like a bad star. Little lines creep from it, slow, patient, smart. It found your blood heat through the tear, she says. It is testing your suit. It will learn the weave. Then it will walk inside you like a thief. Ryan breathes out. Options. I can flood the suit with cold gas, Era says. But you will pass out. Or I can heat the spot very fast and very small. Burn me? Yes, how much? Enough to make you swear. He smiles a little even now. Do it. On 3, Era says. 1, re-embraces. 2, he thinks of a blue sea he saw when he was a child. He thinks of a dog that loved him. He thinks of how those things feel like they still live in him. 3, pain bites like a white animal. Sharp, pure. It jumps from shoulder to teeth. He swears, not words. A raw sound. He tastes iron. Smoke curls inside the suit, sweet and wrong. The gray spark flares. Then it goes dark. The creeping lines stop. They turn to dust. Ryan shakes once hard and lets the air out slow. Hull spot clear, Era says. Inside thread dead. But there are more outside. On the frame's ribs, tiny ashes move like frost ants. They walk toward cables. They touch. They taste. They learn. A pump coughs. A gauge drops. The thin hull groans again. Vora threw the lure for them, Ryan says. Yes, Era says. She made sugar for a storm. The gray ribbon closes distance. It does not rush. It does not need to. It moves like a calm tide that knows the shore will not run far. How close to the colony? Ryan asks. Hours, Era says. Less if we force a jump and fail. Then we die and the colony still dies. What stops the jump? Ryan says. The swarm's hand on our tail, Era answers. And my mind. I am not complete. Not yet. Then complete me, Ryan says. Silence just for a breath. Ryan, she says very soft. Full bond now will open all doors. Yours and mine. It may not unbind. You could change. You could never be alone inside again. Ryan looks at the gray tide and then at the empty stars beyond it. He thinks of the hangar doors. He thinks of choosing the small hole because small and fast beats big and slow. He thinks of children who never asked to be part of any of this. I can live with not alone, he says. I cannot live with not trying. Era does not argue. He feels acceptance flow from her like warm light. Prepare, she says. This will feel like drowning. Do not close your eyes. Ryan tightens the straps. He opens his hands. Do it, we'll bond, Era says. Begin. The world lifts and tilts inside him, not down a shaft this time. Up, out, in. His skull becomes a room with 2 doors, both open. Cold wind blows through. He feels 2 pulses. He hears 2 breaths. He sees 2 pasts. He is in era again, but deeper. He sees the silver fleet in perfect lines. He hears the code choir sing. He feels the pride of clean math and clean purpose. Then the gray comes. Not like a wave, but like a silence that eats the music. He feels ships die like candles. He is in Rian again, but larger. He is 5, running on a dry road and laughing at nothing. He is 12, stealing a copper coil and leaving 3 coins because he cannot take without giving back. He is 19, losing a friend to a bad lock and carrying the guilt like a stone in a pocket that never empties. 2 rivers meet. The water does not fight. It just becomes one river with more power. Era's voice arrives from everywhere. I feel your hope, she says. It is loud. Good, Rian says. His voice is inside her now too. Make it louder. The bond snaps into place like a seatbelt in a crash. Full, Era says. A small joy rides the word. I am complete. The gray tide flexes. It throws a thin arm toward their hull. Tiny teeth bite a cable. The frame shudders. The jump vector quivers like a fishing line. Now, Ryan says, show me the swarm the way you see it. She does. To his eye, it was fog. To Era's mind, it is a song. 1,000 thin notes. A simple melody that repeats and repeats and repeats to teach the world to sleep. He can almost hum it. It uses steady rhythm, Era says. It likes clean steps. It hates surprise, Rian grins. Ugly and real. Play it something bad. What is bad? Era asks, curious. Human, Rian says. Mess, he taps his heel again, the broken beat. But this time he does not stop at the foot. He sends the beat through the bond. Era catches it. She pushes it into the ship's skin, into the thrusters, into the tiny magnetic fields. The frame becomes a drum with no steady drummer. The gray song wobbles. It does not understand. It tries to correct. The beat shifts again. Late, early, skip, double, laugh, cry. It is not pretty. It is alive. Their mouth closes, Era says. They are thinking. While they think, Ryan says, we cut. How? Hot and cold, he says. Fire then ice then fire. Never a pattern. Era moves with him, thrusters spit hot breath. Then the vents weep cold gas. Then a small plasma tongue licks the gray arm and pulls back. Then nothing for a beat that feels wrong. Then everything at once. The gray bites, then lets go, then bites air, then bites itself. It is confused, Era says, surprise bright in her tone. It is annoyed. Ryan says, make it angry. We cannot, Era says. It has no face. Then we make it ashamed, Rian says. We show it joy. He does not explain. He does not have words for what he means. He just opens one more door inside and pushes a feeling through it. The feeling of a dog that trusted him. The feeling of a blue sea. The feeling of turning small into safe with his own hands and a bad wrench. It is not logic. It is warm. Era receives it. She does not question. She throws the feeling into the same fields where the ugly beat lives. Heat patterns wobble with joy. Cold gas moves like a hug and then like a slap and then like a joke that both friends get. The frame sings a human song. The gray song stutters again. It pulls back a little, not in fear but in pause. It must measure this new math that is not math. Jump window opening, Era says. Very narrow. Very rude. Good, Rian says. We are rude. Then the frame jerks, not from the front. From below. A new gray thread has found the engine throat. Small bots run along the inside like ants in a straw. The throat coughs, loses pressure, coughs again. Inside again, Era says, sharp. In the throat. Ryan does not think. He feels the throat as if it were his own. The bond shows him the pipe, not in pictures, but as a body map. He tenses a muscle that does not exist and the throttle sneezes. He relaxes and it sighs. He tenses in a different way and it laughs a small metal laugh. Copy me, he tells Era. Breath attack. They do it together. In and out, hold, push, pull. The breath pattern is not pretty. It is the sound of a scared person not wanting to show it. It shoves the small bots into one corner of the throat. Now salt, Ryan says. We do not have salt, Era says. You have grit, he says. Sand, she says, understanding. A line of microscrub from a dead filter wakes and pours. Sand hisses through the throat. The bots try to bite it. They break their teeth. The cluster tears itself apart inside the pipe, small and angry and finally very quiet. Clear, Era says. relief like sunlight. The gray tide outside flows again. It is patient, it is huge. It does not get tired, it learns. Already Ryan sees small shifts in its song, small bends, small tries to become ugly like them. It is changing, he says. Yes, Era says. It writes while it eats. It always did. Then we move now, Rian says. Open the jump. Bond load high, Era warns. Your mind. It's mine, he says. And yours, push. Era opens the door in space again. Not wide, not clean, a rude cut made with a dull knife and a brave hand. The lure's light cracks and dies behind them. Fora is far back now, but her gift did its work. The gray opens, ready to drink. Ryan takes a breath that burns. Go. The frame kicks. The stars smear. The gray tide grabs. The ugly beat screams. The warm feeling shakes like fire and wind. The engine throat laughs and coughs and sings. For a second, Ryan sees everything. The colony like a small green coin. The station like a bleeding wheel. Fora like a hard line. The gray like a storm with no eye. Era like a hand that wants to hold and move. Then the bond flares white. Pain. Light. Noise. All doors open. Ryan, Era says. Too loud and too close, and stay with me, he tries. He reaches. He feels his hand, but also not. He feels his name, but also not. He feels a long night and a sure step and an old road and a young laugh all at once, and he cannot tell which are his and which are hers. The jump takes them or it does not. The last thing he hears is a heartbeat that is not one heart. It is two, it is ugly. It is strong and then black. Silence, then a slow hum. Ryan opens his eyes. A thin frost coats his visor from the inside. He wipes it with his thumb. Stars float where they should not. A bright green coin hangs far ahead. The colony, he says. Yes, Era answers. Her voice is tired and bright at the same time. We made the jump. Not clean, but we made it, Rian smiles once. Then the smile dies. On the left, space looks wrong. A gray veil hangs there, torn and fluttering like smoke that does not drift. The swarm did not stay behind. A piece jumped with them, thin, wounded, angry. How long? Ryan asks. 14 minutes before that piece grows strong, Era says. It is small, but it learns fast. If it touches the colony heat, it will call the rest across normal space. Ryan tastes metal in his mouth. Then we kill it here. He feels Era's agreement like a hand squeeze. Status, he says. Bond at 94%, Era says. Hull thin. Thrusters good. Main throat stable. Maglanse, damaged but alive. Maglance? Ryan asks. A coil cannon for big pushes, Era says. Not a gun. A shove. Ryan looks at the torn gray veil. It flows toward them like a broken tide, slow, sure. He thinks of doors and walls and rivers. Then we do not shoot one bullet, he says. We shape a river. Era listens. Take us to the gas ring, Ryan says. He points at a faint arc around the colony world. A dusty belt of old fuel clouds. Thin gas, cold, useless for ships. Useful for us, Era turns the frame. The cylinder hums. The scrap tug skates across dark like a fast leaf. The gray follows. As they move, Ryan opens the new doors inside the bond again. He pushes warm through them. Short, bright memories. A dog with one ear up. A blue sea with small waves. A woman at a market who gave him free bread when he was 12 because he fixed her scale with a nail. He lets those things glow in the ship's skin. Why warmth? Era asks. Because the swarm sings a cold song, he says. We sing a warm one. It listens. It slows. Era tastes his idea, then throws it back out through the field coils. The frame's small magnetic lines carry tiny stutters of joy. The veil shivers. It does not like this strange math. They reach the gas ring. It is thin, pale, almost not there. Era lights small thrusters. Faint fog glows around them like a ghost sea. Now what? She asks. We make a pressure corridor, Rian says. A long, crooked hallway in space. Out of gas? Era says, interested. Out of gas and heat, he says. Hot, then cold, then hot, no rhythm. Only human, Era grins in his head. Human, hell yes. They begin. Small plasma tongues lick the thin gas. It blooms, then fades, then blooms in a new place. Vents open and cough cold into the cloud, then stop, then cough on the other side. The field coils nudge the gas like soft hands, shaping a path that curves toward a dead station core floating near the ring. A heavy, quiet heart from some old war, long cold, still dangerous if you wake it. The gray veil sees heat and goes to drink. It hits the first bloom, swallows, slows. It hits the cold and stiffens. It hits the second bloom and splits. It tries to learn. The corridor moves again. The swarm has to choose. It chooses wrong twice. It hates that. Maglance? Ryan asks. Charged, Era says. I can shove once hard. Save it, Ryan says. We heard first. The corridor narrows. The veil thickens. It presses its face to the path Era draws. It does not like turns. It does not like being told where to go. It wants to be the river, not the boat. Ryan taps his heel, offbeat, feeding ugly rhythm into every field. The swarm's song stutters. It tries a new pattern. It tries human ugly. It almost finds it. Era feels that and whispers, "It is close." Then we get rude, Ryan says. More warmth. He opens one more door inside and throws his worst and best at it. Shame, pride. A night he stole and then paid back double. A morning he watched the sun rise over an engine bay and cried because he was alive and dirty and still here. He does not name these things. He is them. He gives them to Era. Era takes them with 2 careful hands. She does not judge. She turns them into fields. The corridor becomes a song of care and stubbornness. The veil hesitates, just a breath. That breath is everything. Now, Ryan says, turn the dead heart. Era reaches for the old station core ahead. It is cold iron and old math. Its locks are asleep. Its control tongue is broken. Era kisses the dead code with a translation glitch, the same kind that once said make love. The old heart hears a wrong word and tries to be young just for a second. Lights wake in the dead core. Deep inside, a collapse lattice stirs, the last trick of a war no one tells stories about. Mag lance, Ryan says. Shove? Era asks, shove, the lance fires. Not a bullet, a push. The gas corridor flexes. The gray veil slides, slips, and drops toward the old heart like a scarf falling on a hook. Close the door, Ryan says. Era slams the old core's seals. The veil sees the trap and surges. It tries to run backward. Ryan and Era kick heat patterns in its face, ugly and joyful. Fast and late, left and then wrong left. The veil makes a mistake. It turns inside itself now, Era says. Her voice shakes with focus and fear and hope all at once. Collapse, she wakes the lattice. Space around the dead core contracts like a fist. The thin gray that made it through screams without sound. It pulls and stretches and tears. The part still outside slams itself flat to stop from going in. It fails, it flows and fails again. It hates losing. It has never had to hate before. Ryan watches, jaw hard. He will not celebrate yet. The core implodes. A ring of blue-white light runs out and dies quick. Where the veil was is now drifting dust that does not move right, like ash underwater. Containment? He asks. Hold, Era says, breathless. Residual threads. She sweeps with coils like a broom. Gone. Ryan lets air leave his chest. He had not known he held that much. Colony status? He says. Era pings the world. Radios wake. 100 confused voices answer. People asking questions. People crying. People laughing because they are scared and still alive. Someone plays a bad guitar in a bad room and sings about soup. Ryan laughs once because the song is awful and real. A small light blinks on his panel. Vora, he says. Era checks. No, different source. Narrow beam. Deep space. The beam carries a simple code, old and human. Ryan reads it out loud. Pilot of unknown tug, he says. Stand by for escort. By order of fleet. Era goes very quiet. Fleet? Ryan asks. Your fleet? Not mine, Era says. Human. Hidden. Awake. The beam sharpens. It comes from a dark wedge rising from a shadow behind the colony moon. 1 ship, then 2, then 5, not big. Not small, alive. Their skins show no marks. Their engines whisper like wolves. Friend? Ryan asks. Maybe, Era says. Maybe not, another ping. New band, different tone. Ryan's stomach turns cold. What now? He asks. Era does not answer for 1 heartbeat. Then she says, very thin. A second gray source. Far edge of the system, large, not a veil. A front. Ryan looks at the green coin of the colony. He looks at the quiet ash near the dead core. He looks at the dark wedge ships that say escort with nice words and sharp teeth. He listens to the bad soup song still leaking from the radio. He tightens his straps. Okay, he says. Calm and simple. Round 2. Era's laugh is small and bright and tired. Human, she says. Hell yes. The dark wedge gives them a path. The gray front brings a storm. The colony turns and doesn't know which one is worse. Ryan sets the frame between all 3. He feels Era's hand in his inside their shared head. Show me the door that doesn't exist yet, he says. We will make it, Era says. Good, Ryan says. Let's be rude again. And they burn forward into a sky that suddenly has too many answers. The dark wedge ships rise from the moon's shadow like knives. No flags, no names. Only cold light on sharp sides. A voice cuts in on open band. Calm, dry, trained to sound safe. Unknown tug, the voice says. This is Fleet Unit Blackline. Hold course. Power down. Prepare to transfer the alien core to our custody. Ryan glances at the glowing cylinder. Era glows back steady and warm. He feels her watch the voice. He feels her do the fast math of risk. Say nothing, Era whispers in his head. Ryan says nothing. The gray front grows at the edge of the system. Big, slow, hungry. Like weather. Like a wall of winter. Time is a small coin now. The fleet voice returns. Unknown tug. Acknowledge you are flying a dangerous system. For the safety of the colony, relinquish control. A second tone slips in. Private band. The same voice, but without the calm paint pilot, it says low. We know what you carry. We have waited for it. You are alone. Don't be a hero. Ryan tastes iron in his mouth. He speaks on the same private band. Alone? I hear 5 of you. Not what I meant, the voice says. Stand by to transfer. Era is quiet, a breath longer than normal. Then, I can burn and run. We can hide in the storm edge. Ryan thinks of the colony. He thinks of the bad soup song. He thinks of people who cannot run. No, he says. We do not leave them. The fleet ships spread like a fan. Their skins drink radar. Their drives hum like a promise. One opens its belly. Inside, a black net cradle big enough to swallow the cylinder and hold it tight. Era whispers, they want my heart. Ryan feels an old feeling rise, hot and stubborn. The feeling that made him leave coins when he stole a coil. The feeling that told him to fix what he could even when no one paid. He hits wideband and speaks to everyone. Colony, he says, voice plain, sure. This is Ryan in a scrap frame with an alien core. We cut a swarm and saved your sky. Fleet Blackline just told me to give them the core and power down. The big gray front is still coming. He pauses, half a heartbeat. He lets that sit in the air. I am not a hero, he says. I am a salvage rat with ugly rhythm. But this core is not a prize. It is a partner. It is alive. It fought for you. If Fleet wants to work with us to stop the front, I say yes. If they want to lock it and study while the storm eats your fields, I say no. Silence. Then a crackle. Many voices. Fear, anger, gratitude. A small boy says thank you, and then someone shushes him and laughs because they are crying. The fleet voice comes back, bright and clean, now on public band. Colony citizens, this is Blackline Command. The pilot is excited. We are trained. We will handle it. Stand by. Ryan cuts in before the calm can settle. Command, he says, you will not handle the gray by hiding a new mind in a box. You handle it by joining. We have a way to confuse it. Warm fields. Ugly rhythm. We can show you. But Era is not your property? A long breath of radio quiet. Ryan hears Era's small, careful laugh inside him. You are rude, she says. Human, he answers. A new voice arrives. Older, tired. It carries dust and loss and steel. Pilot Ryan, it says, this is Commander Hale. You are correct about one thing. We cannot box our way out of a storm. Ryan narrows his eyes. And the rest? The core, Era, Hale says, tasting the name, did save lives. Respect is due, but we have rules. We do not hand war tools to freelancers. Ryan looks at the green coin of the world. He looks at the gray front like a slow wall. He sees both in his head at once. The bond lets him keep both without breaking. Then do this, he says flat. Form line with us. Share fire control. We share the pattern. We will not duck. We will not unbind. After we push the front away, we talk. Another beat of quiet. In the quiet, a third sound arrives, cheap, sharp, dirty. Little rat, a woman says, warm as poison. You made new friends. I made new plans, Vora. Her ship limps from the station's far side like a wounded shark. Hull black. Drives cut and patched. She should not fly. She flies anyway. She pings the gray front with a small, bright lure. Ryan's breath goes hard. Don't. The lure sings. The front bends just a little, a taste tongue turning toward sugar. Era's voice is a hard whisper. She will drag the front to the colony to force Fleet to buy her off. Fleet Blackline. Ryan says fast. If you shoot her, the front drinks the heat and learns your rhythm. If you wait, the lure drifts and still brings it in. Suggestions? Commander Hale says, voice tight now, the paint gone. Do what we do, Ryan says. No pattern, warm joy. Cold slap, herd, push, together. He throws open his doors inside and pushes the method out. Beats and breath and warmth dressed as fields. He gives it plain. No holdbacks, no tricks. The bond carries it clean. Era echoes it, turns it into a simple packet a soldier can use. Hale does not pretend to think long. Blackline copy pattern, she says. Squad A, build Rian's ugly corridor. Squad B, kill the lure with a cold scoop and no flare. All units follow his push. Pilot Rian, you take center. We mirror. Copy, Ryan says. Era is already working. Gas jets bloom like cheap stars. Cold scoop sip, not bite. Fields nudge in rude little jokes. The corridor rises again, bent, warm, alive. Vora sees the plan and laughs. You heard storms now? She says. Cute. She spins a second lure. Ryan's answer is simple. He aims the frame at her bow and fires the mag lance on a side vector. A shove, not a stab. Vora's ship slides offline like a bar stool on wet floor. Her second lure misses the corridor and wanders into dead space, singing to no one. Her ship rolls. Her laugh cuts out. Commander, Ryan says. Keep her focused on staying alive. Don't let her get clever. Blackline C, Hale says. Tickle the pirate. No heat, no kill. Be rude. 3 small fleet ships move like knives on ice and bump Vora again and again with cold pushes. She swears in 3 languages. Her drives cough. Her hull sulks. The gray front reaches the corridor and tastes it. It does not like the shape. It tries to bite through. The corridor moves. It tries to flow around. The corridor lifts and drops and laughs. Fleet copies the laugh. The storm finds itself the boat, not the river. Left bend, Era says. Ryan taps the beat. Fleet follows. Warm, cold, skip, double, hold, push. The front slows. It thickens. It stares at its own feet. Dead heart ready, Era says. Another old core hangs near the ring, silent, cold. I can wake it for a collapse. Do it, Ryan says. Commander, on my count, shove. Counting, Hale says. Vora tries one last trick. She opens her bay doors and dumps a bag of hot scrap into the corridor to muddy the song. Ryan laughs. He's tired and hot and scared, and he laughs because he is still here. Era, he says. Make that trash a metronome. She does. The hot bits bounce in dumb rhythm. The gray looks. The corridor slaps it on the wrong beat. It trips. It falls into itself. Now, Rian says. Era kisses the dead core awake. It blinks, confused, then remembers how to die well. The collapsed lattice hums. Fleet shoves. The corridor narrows like a throat swallowing. The front's nose folds. Its body pulls. It screams without sound. It hates this shape. It has never had to hate before. Hold, Era says, voice thin and fierce. Hold, Hale says. Rian holds. Every muscle. Every thought. Ugly rhythm, steady and not steady. Warmth loud. Cold louder. Joy like a hammer. The core implodes. Blue-white rings run once, twice gone. Where the front touched becomes ash that does not move right. Silence. Then a noise on the wide band. Not words. A cheer. Clumsy. Honest. Alive. Ryan lets his head drop back against the strap. His shoulder aches where Era burned the gray out. His hands shake. He does not make them stop. Shaking means living. Commander Hale speaks, voice soft and old again. Pilot Rian, Core Era, thank you. Don't thank me yet, Ryan says. You will try to take her and we will say no. Hale does not pretend. Yes, she says. We will ask hard. Others will ask harder. The war will make men into boxes if we let it. Ryan looks at the glowing cylinder. He feels Era look back. They share a small private quiet. We are not a box, he says. No, Hale says. You are a door, a pause. We need doors. We share the method, Ryan says. We fight with you, but we keep our bond. We keep our choice, another pause. Then, agreed for today, Hale says. Tomorrow will argue with us. Let it wait, Vora cuts back in, bitter and bright. Lovely speech. Still want my cut. Pirate Vora, Hale says, suddenly warm. You may have it. You may have a head start. Run. 3 fleet ships flex their drives. Vora runs. She always does. She lives to try again. That is fine. Some storms come back as people. The colony opens more voices, food lists, missing names turning into found names, a bad guitar playing a better song. Ryan listens and lets his eyes sting. Era speaks in his head, quiet. Ryan, the bond is full. I can let go if you wish. It will hurt. It may leave echoes. We can split. You can be alone inside again. Ryan thinks of the hangar door. He thinks of the small hole. He thinks of being 5 running on a dry road and laughing for no reason. He smiles. It is small and real. I am not alone, he says. And I do not want to be. Era's answer is simple. Thank you. They turn together to face the wide dark. On long-range scan, 3 faint far lights blink like distant storms waking. Not fronts yet, seeds, tomorrow's problem. Ryan tightens the straps one more notch. Commander, he says, draw me a line of wolves. We will teach them ugly rhythm. Hale laughs once, tired and glad. With pleasure. Ryan sets his hands on nothing and everything. Era wraps the ship like a second body around his intent. Ready? She asks. Always, he says. Human plus ship. Care plus courage. Warmth plus rude math. They burn forward. Not to end a story, but to keep